Hi, I'm Cheryl Barnes from Golden Threads, and I wanted to introduce you to a wonderful product line that we have by Joni Poole. Joni Poole is a nationally known quilting teacher that teaches heirloom quilting, and what she has created for Golden Threads is a collection of design packets that we call elements. And the elements packets are really unique because they come with a stencil, and they also come with pages of designs. This particular one is Amy. You'll notice as we go through this little clip here that they all have girls' names. And one of the reasons is because Joni has all sons and I have all sons, and we wanted to use up the girls' names that we haven't been able to use naming our children, so we named the design elements girls' names. And each packet comes with one design element. So to be successful with your free motion quilting, whether you're on a frame or on a sewing machine, you just need to learn and practice that one shape. Now what comes in the packet, like I said, is a plastic stencil that you can use to mark your quilt tops. And you can do that two different ways. You can use that with the blue pen that is so popular, the wash away. You can use it with the quilt pounce just by rubbing your pattern and designing that way, and using your stencil and coming up with all different great ideas for how to use that design yourself. Is that coming through visually? Or with the blue pen, Joni up here has used the Amy stencil to actually mark on the quilt top her quilting plan using Amy and using her blue pen. So that's another way to use it. So it's a really versatile tool to use. The other wonderful thing about this element packets, you'll see this little sample down here. Now this sample was done just to show what the individual design element would look like, what one block would look like, and what a border would look like. But inside the packet, you also get full-size paper designs and inspirations for different ways to use the stencil. So here's one page of blocks and corners. Here's another layout page that can be wonderful little whole cloths. They can be table toppers, table runners, all different wonderful projects, as well as different ways to use the quilting design. And then each element also comes with a small whole cloth. Now a whole cloth does not require any piecing, it's just one layer of fabric, and the quilting is the highlight. So if you've ever wanted to try doing a whole cloth pattern, any one of these element packages would be wonderful to do that with. Now you'll notice that some of Joni's quilting has the really little micro stippling in there. You don't have to be successful at using these element packets if you can't do the micro stippling, but we have included a stippling guide so that if you suffer from being intimidated from stippling, these packets will also help you learn to stipple. Now if you're going to use the paper patterns, one of the best ways to do it is to use the Golden Threads quilting paper. So what I have done, I've taken the paper from the roll. It is translucent, so I can trace my first copy onto the Golden Threads paper, stack a whole bunch together, needle punch this on my sewing machine, and now I have a paper stencil that I can mark with. So instead of using the plastic stencil, I have the versatility of making a paper stencil, and then again, using the pounce box, I can pounce through the paper like this. And I wanted to mention this is that even though it's called a pounce box, you're not pouncing, you are rubbing or swiping, and then your pattern will show up for quilting. Now the miracle chalk that we use in the pounce box stays in place until you take it away with a warm iron. I'm going to show you how that works. So when you're done quilting, it simply disappears. Another option for using your paper stencils is to attach them to your fabric. You can either pin them, or we have a sticky dot stamper that you just press down like this, and it creates a nice surface. You can see that this is going to hold this flat, and you can obviously would add more sticky dots. You can see how nice and securely that this holds your paper to your fabric, and then you can quilt following the holes. And then when you're done quilting, you just simply pull the paper away, and the quilting paper just pops away from your stitches. So with one design pack, look at everything you can do. You can use the stencil, you can use your paper pattern, you can mark it with pounce, you can quilt through the paper, and there's all different creative ideas to do that. Now let me show you some of the other girls in the Elements collection so you can get an idea of some of the other design elements that are available to you. I want to take a minute and introduce you to some of the other girls in the Elements collection. This happens to be one of my favorites. It's Grace. Again, you can see that there is a stencil that is provided, and lots of directions in how to plan your quilting comes with the packet, how to do the marking that I explained before when we were looking at Amy. This is the back of the Grace packet, so it gives you some of the ideas of what is inside, but I want to give you a quick peek inside at some of the blocks, corners, triangles, borders, and other layout ideas that is in there. And of course, this is the Grace mini whole cloth, if you want to try that. And you can see this, just the simple quilting lines that are in Grace, so that you can be successful at quilting this design element. And of course, every element comes with stippling instructions. And I want to just show you one more to show you the flavor of the all the different packets. And this is Isabel, and Isabel's a little more leafy. And again, you get blocks, corners, different ideas for how to use the stencil and or the paper patterns, some whole cloths, some table runner ideas, some borders, and I'm trying to get to the whole cloth here. Here's the little whole cloth that you can make. And again, you would just trace this onto the Golden Threads quilting paper, or if you have a light box and you want to trace it right onto your fabric, it depends on the color of your fabric, and of course our famous stippling guide. So I invite you to go to goldenthreads.com, take a look, visit with all the girls, and pick up a couple and try quilting either both with stencils and using the quilting paper, and just have fun. I invite you to be creative, be confident, and go forth and quilt.